Welcome to Tech Talks with Kinsoft. We're here to help you cut through the noise and really get to the heart of what matters in this fast-paced world of tech. Today, we're tackling a topic that, well, it often gets overlooked, but it's arguably the most critical piece of cybersecurity. We're talking about the human element.
That's exactly right. We hear so much about, these super sophisticated cyber attacks, right?
Yeah.
Complex stuff. But the surprising truth, and what we're going to dig into today, is that the biggest vulnerability often just, well, walks right in the front door. Or, maybe more often now, logs in from home. We'll be exploring why people are both a company's greatest asset and its biggest cybersecurity risk.
Yeah, and we've gathered some really fascinating insights for you. We looked at cybersecurity experts, industry reports, even some government guides. So our mission today is to unpack those honestly startling statistics behind human error in data breaches, and then crucially, show you how organizations are trying to flip that script, turn people from, potential weak links into their strongest defense. Get ready for maybe some aha moments that might just change how you think about digital security.
So let's unpack this a bit. You might invest in the absolute latest firewalls, the best antivirus software. But what if the biggest threat isn't some, shadowy hacker collective, but just a single misclick? Is it really that simple sometimes?
It's not just simple, it's overwhelmingly the case. The data is quite stark, actually. Study after study, sources like InfoSecurity Magazine and others, they consistently show that a staggering 90 to 95% of cybersecurity breaches, they're tied back to human error.
95%.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't just a small factor. It's the dominant cause.
Wow, so it's almost always involved. Pretty much. Think about almost any major breach you read about. Chances are there was a human moment, an error, right at the core of it somewhere.
When we talk human error, I guess the classic example comes up, right?
Oh.
Phishing. And here's where it gets really interesting for me. The Verizon Data Breach Investigations Report, year after year, points to phishing as the #1 threat. Number one. It's so common that apparently 1 in 3 employees are likely to click links in phishing emails. And maybe even more worrying, 1 in 4 actually admit they've clicked on one at work. Think about that for your own team.
Right. And it's not just about the clicking, is it? Our sources show that about 1 in 8 employees might actually go further and share information if the phishing email asks for it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And think about this. Nearly half, 45%, admit clicking suspicious emails just in case it's important.
That FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Exactly. That fear or just missing a critical work thing, it's a huge psychological lever for attackers. And add to that, a similar number never report suspicious messages to IT. It's a massive blind spot.
It really is. It means these things can just spread undetected.
And leads to real consequences. Like one stat mentions 74% of U.S. orgs had a successful phishing attack, leading to a data breach just in the last year.
74%. That's
No.
huge. And attackers are getting smarter too, right? They're not just sending generic spam anymore.
Oh, definitely not. They're getting incredibly sophisticated. They leverage human psychology using those emotional triggers, urgency, fear.
Like those urgent account issue emails.
Precisely. Or impersonating brands you trust, or even colleagues. They use publicly available info sometimes to make it look incredibly real. And the attachments, the links, they look totally legitimate. Makes it really hard not to click sometimes.
And now there's AI getting involved.
Yeah, that's the newer, perhaps more concerning development. We're seeing the rise of AI-generated phishing attempts. As of, fairly recently, March 2025. The data suggested AI is about 24% more effective than humans at actually crafting these messages.
24% more effective.
Because they can often bypass the traditional filters. They're grammatically perfect, contextually appropriate. All those little telltale signs we used to look for, the weird phrasing, the typos.
Yeah, they're gone.
Pretty much gone. Which means recognizing the really subtle cues, understanding the context, just having that slightly heightened sense of vigilance. It's more vital than ever.
That gut feeling becomes more important.
It really does. That smell test, because the obvious flags are just disappearing.
Okay, so with these external attacks getting so clever, exploiting our psychology, using AI, it really shines a light on another critical area, doesn't it? The insider threat. And this isn't just like spies or disgruntled employees planting bombs, right? It's broader than that.
Exactly. It's much broader. CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, their guide defines an insider pretty clearly. It's basically any person who has or had authorized access or knowledge of an organization's resources.
Recourses
Meaning personnel, facilities, information, equipment, networks, systems, everything. These are people the organization explicitly trusts. Employees, sure, but also former employees, contractors, vendors, anyone inside that trust boundary.
Okay. And the threat isn't always malicious intent, is it? You mentioned a key distinction.
Right. Accidental versus intentional. That's crucial. It's not always someone plotting something nefarious.
So what does an accidental threat look like?
Well, look, even the best employee, the most careful person, can make a mistake. It could be simple, like mistyping an email address and sending sensitive data, maybe a customer list out to a competitor by accident.
Ouch.
Yeah. Or, they get a really convincing phishing email, it slips past their training and they click the link. Or even something physical, like not shredding sensitive documents properly. And curiosity, that's a big one. Finding a USB drive in the parking lot.
Someone plugs it in just to see what's on it.
Exactly. And an attacker might have left it there precisely for that reason. So these accidental things, you can't completely prevent them, maybe, but you can definitely mitigate the impact with the right procedures and awareness.
Right. But then there are the intentional threats. Those seem scarier. What drives those?
It really varies. Sometimes it's for personal gain, like maybe trying to advance their career by stealing intellectual property to take to a new job. Financial pressure is a big one. Or grievances feeling underappreciated, passed over for promotion, unfairly treated.
Well, personal motives, mostly.
Often personal, yeah. Sometimes it's ego, wanting recognition. Occasionally it's even a misguided belief they're doing something noble, like whistleblowing inappropriately. It's complex human stuff, rarely simple.
You mentioned a case in an American energy tech company. That sounded pretty severe.
Oh, it was a really stark example. This company lost over $1 billion in shareholder equity, nearly 700 jobs gone.
$1 billion.
Because their head of automation engineering secretly downloaded proprietary source code. Just took it. Then passed it to a foreign competitor. This was back in 2011, but the legal fight dragged on until 2018. Even when they got a court order for, I think it was $59 million. It sounds like a lot, but compared to the billion lost and the jobs, it's a hollow victory. Shows the devastation an intentional act can cause.
Absolutely devastating. And then there was that other case, the water reclamation plant employee. That seemed driven by something else entirely.
That's right. Very different motivation. In that case, the employee deliberately disabled critical systems, caused about $60,000 in damages. His motivations seemed to stem from financial problems mixed with unaddressed depression. And what's really key there is that apparently there was a pattern beforehand. Increased stress, some concerning behaviors.
Warning signs were missed.
Exactly. It just highlights how severe the consequences can be when those signs are missed and why organizations need ways to support people and address issues respectfully. Personal problems can become security risks.
And it's not always just one person acting alone, right? You mentioned collusive threats.
Yeah, that's another layer. Collusive threats are where insiders actively work with external attackers, often cyber criminals.
For what purpose?
Usually fraud or stealing intellectual property. These are tough to spot because the external folks are often good at covering tracks and the insider provides the crucial in.
Makes sense.
And then there are third-party threats. This involves your contractors, your vendors, anyone external you grant access to your systems.
Okay.
They might cause harm directly, maybe if they're malicious, but more often it's indirect, like their systems get compromised, and that gives attackers a way into your network.
The supply chain risk.
Precisely, and those attacks are way up. Some reports show supply chain attacks jumped like 431% between 2021 and 2023. It really hammers home that your security is only as strong as the weakest link in your whole extended network.
Okay, so given all these risks, accidental clicks, sophisticated phishing, intentional insiders, compromised vendors, it feels significant. What does this actually mean for strengthening security? It sounds like that cybersecurity awareness training isn't just a nice-to-have IT thing anymore. It feels like a core business necessity, more than just checking a box for compliance.
Absolutely. It's fundamental. It's really about shifting the mindset, transforming your team from, potential liabilities into your actual strongest line of defense. And effective training, it's got to go way beyond just don't click bad links. It's about building security habits into the daily routine, empowering people.
Right. So if an organization is looking to build out or improve their training, what are the really key areas sources point to?
Well, obviously, phishing and email security is foundational. Teaching people how to spot those scams, the suspicious links, the social engineering tactics. But then there's password management. And the insight here isn't just use a strong password, because people hate that.
Yeah, the complex ones you forget instantly.
Exactly. It's more about enabling strong security. So, encouraging things like good password managers and pushing multi-factor authentication, MFA. These tools actually reduce the friction for users while boosting security, makes it easier to be secure.
Okay, makes sense. What about just everyday web surfing and devices?
That's safe internet usage and device security. So, guidance on avoiding risky websites, being careful with unsecured Wi Fi, huge when people work remotely or travel, and securing all devices, not just the work laptop, but personal phones if they access work stuff, strong passcodes, encryption. Also, keeping software updated, those patches often fix critical security holes.
Right. The updates we always click, remind me later on.
Ah, yeah, those ones. Then there's data protection itself. This isn't just reciting regulations like GDPR, it's teaching practical steps.
Mm,
How to handle sensitive data, how to classify it maybe, understanding the real world impact if it leaks, instilling that sense of responsibility for the data.
got it. And physical stuff too. You mentioned USBs earlier.
Yep. Removable media security. Highlighting the very real risks of plugging in unknown USBs, even those promotional giveaways you get at conferences. Good training often includes practical demos showing just how easily a system can be compromised by one of those. Makes it stick.
So it's blending the digital and physical environment awareness.
Precisely. Which leads to things like a modern clean desk policy. Not the old rigid rules, but adapted for today's workplaces, home offices, open seating. It's about making secure habits routine, like securing sensitive papers quickly, maybe using subtle nudges or reminders, not just rules.
In minutes, not hours, as one source put it.
Yeah, exactly. And finally, environmental security. Just being aware of those low-tech physical threats right there in the office. Things like tailgating someone slipping in the door behind you without badging in, or shoulder surfing someone literally looking over your shoulder at your screen or keyboard. Simple but effective if people aren't vigilant.
Okay, so there's a lot to cover. But it's not just what you train on, it's how, isn't it? I imagine those generic hour-long, once-a-year videos don't really cut it.
Oh, they really don't. The delivery is absolutely key to making it effective. It has to be personalized. It has to be engaging. Think about that mandatory training, boring video, tedious quiz. People just click through. The results are forgettable. The best approaches, the best platforms, they adapt. They look at the employee's role, their current skill level, how they learn best. Keeps everyone challenged but not overwhelmed or bored. That personalization is vital because people have different tech skills, different priorities day to day.
It needs to feel relevant to their job.
Exactly. And that's where we get into behavioral science, isn't it?
Right. This isn't just about knowing stuff. It's about changing what people actually do.
Habits.
Precisely. And that's the real aha moment for a lot of organizations. Security isn't just knowledge, it's ingrained habits. So using behavioral science techniques, that's changing the game. Things like immediate feedback loops in training simulations, gamification elements making it a bit competitive or fun, and micro-learning breaking down big topics into small, practical, digestible chunks.
Easier to remember. Yeah, it helps fight that forgetting curve, where we naturally forget most of what we learned shortly after learning it. So training needs to be concise, continuous, maybe integrated into the workflow somehow, not just a big annual dump of information. That's how you get real, lasting behavior change.
And leadership has to buy in, right? It can't just be an IT initiative pushed from the side.
Absolutely essential. Like
Yeah.
leadership has to champion this stuff. They need to set the expectation. Cybersecurity is everyone's job, from the top down.
Walk the walk.
Exactly. Model the behavior and, crucially, find ways to acknowledge and maybe even reward good security practices and compliance, not just punish mistakes. That positive reinforcement can massively boost motivation and morale. It builds a culture where people feel safer reporting things, even their own mistakes, without fear.
Okay, that makes sense. Fostering a positive security culture. Now, technology can help too, right? We hear about tools like user activity monitoring, data loss prevention.
They definitely play a supporting role, yeah. Tools like user activity monitoring, UAM, that helps flag unusual employee behavior that might signal a threat, internal or external. And data loss prevention, DLP, those tools are designed to stop sensitive data leaving the company through unauthorized routes. They can absolutely help detect anomalies, but, and this is the critical point, they only enhance human capabilities. They don't replace them.
They need people to interpret the alerts.
Exactly. You need skilled analysts to look at the data, understand the context, decide if it's a real threat or false alarm, and figure out how to respond. And these tools work best when employees know they're there and, importantly, understand why they're there. for collective protection, not just Big Brother watching.
So they supplement human judgment. They don't substitute for it.
Perfectly put. They supplement, they don't replace. Human vigilance, human judgment remain key. So, just to summarize, really, while the threats keep evolving, getting more sophisticated hackers, insiders, AI phishing, all of it, the human element, it's still absolutely central to your security posture. By investing in smart, engaging, continuous training, you really can transform your employees. Turn them from that potential weak link into your most resilient, most adaptable defense.
Yeah.
It's a holistic approach. Prevention, protection, mitigation.
Yeah, and that really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? It's not just about ticking that compliance box anymore. It's about truly embedding security into the culture, into the fabric of the organization, building a place where everyone understands their role, their responsibility in protecting critical assets, takes ownership.
Precisely. And the goal isn't about assigning blame when something goes wrong. It's about empowerment. Empowering every single person to spot potential threats, to report them, fostering that safe, secure environment. And also understanding, that journey from trusted insider to potential threat. It's often a process. There might be observable signs, behavioral patterns. If those are recognized early, maybe intervention is possible before a breach happens.
Right, prevention over reaction.
Not always the goal.
So as we wrap up this Tech Talks with Kinsoft discussion, maybe here's something to think about. If, let's say, 95% of breaches involve human error, and attackers are getting better and better at exploiting our psychology using AI, consider this. What seemingly innocent or just routine digital habit are you, or maybe the people around you, doing every single day? Could that be the next subtle yet significant gateway for a cyber attack? That's definitely something to ponder until next time on Tech Talks with Kinsoft.